Okay, welcome back. So the last video, part 2, we got this sort of working where we can, admittedly I'm losing, but you can put some towers on there. It shoots the enemies and stops once you die. So next thing I want to look at doing is just going to show you how to have more than one type of tower. So at the minute we've got these little towers that do bits, but they're not amazing. They are very good, and sort of how you can sort of customize, like, speed, like machine gun towers and things like that. So first things first, we're going to ignore most of this stuff now. We don't need any of this anymore. We've got our tower group. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two types of tower. So we'll do it in our setup, just like that. Apparently I died, which is good, so I'll just do no loop for now. Obviously you want to do something a bit better than that. So I'm going to create two types of tower. So I'm going to have the idea of a frost tower and an arrow tower. So I've already done this, so I'm going to copy this across and let you copy that down once I've just edited it a little bit, because I've got some quite cool things to show you later on. So what I've got is, I don't want this either, and I don't want the button, I just want the idea of the frost tower. Okay, so in my version, which I'll show you later on in a later video, has like buttons to choose each tower type. I'm not going to do that in this one because I feel like it's just needless. So we've got the idea of a normal tower, which is our tower up here. So we've got a tower which needs to have an attribute called type, so that's going to be like an arrow tower, we'll call it, which is our added attribute. Might make more sense to keep them together, so I'll happily go and do that. So let's just take this frost tower and I can explain the code then. So we've got this overall overarching group of towers. So I'm sort of saying every tower is an arrow tower, hence the A, but then I inherit, using inheritance, if you know about your object-oriented principles, the idea of having all the features of a tower, but with some additional bits, which is the types changing. Okay, so when I place a tower now, even if it's a frost tower, it'll join this towers group, which is what we want. Okay, so yes, that's the first easy part. Now I'm also going to want like a selected tower like toggle, so let selected tower equals was default to A, and then what we can do is let's get a nice little choose tower function, real simple. So let's do function choose tower, and I'm just going to say if kb dot presses, and then let's think of a key. Let's say A selected tower equals A, else if kb dot presses, and we'll keep it simple, F, then selected tower equals F. So I can just choose by pressing A and F to change our tower type. Just to make it even easier here, I'm just going to, underneath lives, I'm just going to put selected, and then plus selected tower, and let's put that at 60. So now if I run that, fingers crossed, so selected A, and if I press F it should change once I'm started that. So F, A, F, A, F, A, F, F, F. You see there, I'm just changing it. So that's me choosing which tower that I'm going to place. It's a little bit faster that way, I think. I've never put in buttons and stuff like that. So yeah, so next thing I'm going to want to do is actually choose when I place a tower, I want to actually place a frost tower based on that decision. So what I'm going to do is what's called a switch case. You might have heard of it as something like that. So let's just find my place tower. So in here, what I'm going to do is probably in this one, I'm going to do a switch. Okay, So I'm just going to say switch and then selected can't spell tower, and then what I'm going to do is look at the case. So in the case of an F tower, what I'm going to do is my new tower is going to be slightly different. So instead of doing this here and that in there, what I can do, I've died again, is I can take this out, pop that in there. I'm going to give it, I can say t equals, just give it a little bit in there, a little variable, so I can change some bits. So I can say t dot type equals selected tower. So that's going to essentially link out. I don't think I need to do that actually. I think I can just do a new frost tower dot sprite. I think would work actually. Frost tower dot sprite. I don't think I need that, so I'm going to get rid of that. So that should place a blue sprite essentially. So the square will be blue rather than anything else. I might have the frost tower be cheaper. So I'll say 30. I probably should have some sort of check so to make sure the gold's greater than the price and have some big thing in, but I'm not going to worry about that. That could be something you guys can figure out. And I'm going to break. And I'm going to say a case of A. I'm going to do exactly the same, but it's going to be just a tower dot sprite. So it doesn't need to be a frost tower. It just needs to be a tower dot sprite, and then take away 50 gold or whatever, and that's it. Okay, so we can check that works. Fingers crossed it doesn't break. So if I start this wave and I change to an F and place that, it's blue. Change to an A. I don't have enough gold, so hopefully I'll get 50 gold. It's blue, so that's good. That's what we want it to be. Because I set it to be blue. If you remember at the top, I set its colour to always be blue. And then if I get, so there we go. So that's purple. So we know that's working. If I really wanted to, I could, prove a point by just saying tower dot color equals red. But you see there, it's blue. So I'm placing now a choice of tower. I'm just for the sake of some as well, I'm just going to give myself 500 gold to prove a point. So these all towers should be red. Once I press F, these should all be blue. So it's choosing the correct tower. But now what I need to do is actually make them behave differently, rather than, because at the minute they're exactly the same. And that comes down to a bunch of different things really. So I've got a tower shoot function. Now I don't know if this is the best way to do it, if I'm honest with you, because how I've envisioned my game, this idea, is that I've got tower shoot somewhere. Where is it? Tower shoot. But I want they're all shooting at the same time. I don't like that. So what I want to do is have my tower shoot, which is only going to shoot every second or whatever, but this one's only going to work if my tower type is A. So if I do if t.type equals A, I'm going to do this. Otherwise, I'm just not going to do anything. So let's see if that works. So if I do the same as before, start wave, make an arrow tower, that should shoot. If I make a frost tower, you see it's not shooting now. It's only shooting if you're an arrow tower. Okay? There's a reason why I've done it separately. Again, there could be a better way. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to call it frost shoot. Frost shoot. If the type is F and there's an enemy to shoot at, what I'm then going to do is do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to change it slightly. So I'm going to say p.radius equals 0.5, so it should be slightly different now. It should be slightly bigger than the arrow tower, provided everything works alright. I just need to make sure that I run. I'm going to keep it exactly the same. So it's still going to shoot at the same time, so you're probably thinking, well, what's the point of that? We'll get to that in a minute. So place that there. Do you see this one? This one here, it's got a slightly bigger radius, so it's bigger. So I'm sort of seeing my frost tower being like a big sort of like snowball thing, a bit like a frozen orb. If anyone's played World of Warcraft or Baldur's Gate, where you fire a frozen orb, it slows people down. And yeah, that's about it really. That's shooting out two different ones. Then what I was thinking is the normal projectile sprite is like really small, and arrow tower shoots like really fast. That's my sort of thought, and maybe does less damage. Which we'll look at the damage parts in a second. But hopefully that works alright, so we'll just place that. So you see that's like shooting a bit faster, and this one's shooting a bit slower, and then we'll get it so it slows them down. But I think that's sort of working well. So next thing we need to do is like check the actual collisions, where we're going to have to use like another case switch. So in this kill enemies function, we've said you can remove it and you add gold or whatever. So what we're going to have to do is look where we've got here. I think this can stay. I think. Looking at the health, I think we do change it to less than equals to. I think that can go there. So we're just checking for the health straight away. Then all of this can be our switch statement again. So I don't need that anymore. So what I can do is tab that in and say switch. Now what I'm going to switch on is going to be the p.type again. Because I'm looking for the projectile. That's what I wanted to do before that I didn't do. I need to give a type to when it shoots. I need to give a type to the projectile. So p.type equals t.type. So we know what type of bullet it is, and then p.type equals t.type. I was thinking then, what do I need to switch it on? And that's that. So let's go back to our kill enemies, wherever it was. So looking for the bullets type essentially, and what we're going to look at is basically how does the behaviour going to work? Are we just going to kill them? What we're going to do? So I've got the switch in here. I'm going to say case F again. So in the case of an F, we're going to say if p.overlapping enemies is greater than 0. So as soon as it touches them, what we're going to do is we're going to say e.moveSpeed equals a slow number. Okay, and then we'll give ourselves a score. Why not? I don't think I use score in this one, so I'll leave score off. I think it's like an invisible thing in this game. And then what we can do in here as well, that's frost. So we can add different ones in there. So I could say, say I wanted like a bomb tower. I could say case B, and then do something there. Like it doesn't really matter what I do in that case, but that's could be like something cool we do, but that's not going to happen. So we can just ignore that. And what we're going to use is the default part of a case switch. So default. So if it's neither of those, so anything else. Sounds like an else. It's the whole point of the case statement is to save you doing loads of ifs. I'm just going to say if p dot overlaps e p dot remove, and then I'm going to say e dot health minus equals like a small number, and then let's leave that as that. I think my enemy's health is quite low at this point. E dot health I think is 1, I think, enemy dot health. Let's see how that goes. So the idea is that it's not just like completely annihilating them with like super quick fire. So fingers crossed it all works nicely. So start the wave. I'm going to do an arrow tower. Admittedly is missing a lot, but so there we go. It seems to be working. And then the frost tower isn't working at the moment, so we can see what's wrong with that. So the idea of this one is that we're not removing this one. We're just going to we can get rid of this writing as well. We could always round it down. Doesn't really matter. I think where we did this here, where's the enemy text? E dot text equals. Just round that down. It should be a little bit better. So let's just see if this code here is working. So, don't want that. I didn't mean to do that one. So e.moveSpeed equals, let's just say 0. So I'm going to place my tower, switch straight to frost. So you see that's not doing anything at the minute. So what we need to do is check what the projectile type is, and there could be a bunch of reasons why this isn't working. So we can say console.log p.type. So let's just check that the type's correct, because it could be awkward if it's not. So it's undefined. It says F there, which is interesting. It's good. So let's just check in tower shoot. Equals t.type. Yeah, it seems to be working okay. So let's just see if it's working. So console.log. I'll just put something silly in. See if that's working. Start with F. So it does seem to be working. And then I've got e.movespeed. Aha! I haven't even added it in yet. So I need to add this in. So enemies.movespeed. I don't know what it should be. And then when the enemy moves, which will be in our enemy move function somewhere. Enemy move. I've just said 0.05. We can just do e.movespeed. And then I think 0.5 was the value, so we'll just put that back. I think that might be too fast, but we can see if it works. Before we do anything like that. Start with F. Yeah, that's way too quick. And it's just killing the game because it's too fast. So what we can do is just go ahead and fix that. So it was it not? No, was it 0.05? 0.05? And I think I removed the movement speed if it touches a tower. So 0.01. We'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed it doesn't break it and it works. Okay, so I slowed it right down. It's going through multiple ones, and I can say, right, now I'm going to shoot my arrow tower. We're just going to shoot stuff. Obviously that's rounded, so it's saying 0. It's not good, it's invincible. But that's sort of working for a frost tower. I like that actually. Now the only thing I think that's really sort of missing, other than our lives being ridiculously bad, so I have to flaw that as well. So lives will be flaw lives like that. I can switch between the towers, that's all good. My only issue is that the way I'm targeting enemies, if you remember, if I just get rid of all these functions so we don't have to worry about these. Placing towers, that works. Frost shoot works to a point, actually. These are what I want to change. So everything else seems to be absolutely fine. So I'll just hide these. But these two functions aren't working that well, because we're only ever looking for the first enemy. So if I slow one down, so if I slow the first enemy, so if I just refresh the game, if you see, let's see how we're doing for time. Just check OBS. 18 minutes is a bit longer than I want it to be. But if I just place a tower, it shoots this first one here. If I place a frost tower, it shoots the first one there. But if it doesn't hit these ones, see that 3, that's gone past now. And that's running away. And I'm never going to target it because I'm always targeting the ones closest to me. So I need to fix that. So to do that, I'm going to have to make some sort of function that goes ahead and chooses the closest. Now, I've already done this function, so I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to explain it afterwards, so I'm going to get it working. So here's my function. I'm going to zoom in on that in a second, and then I want to show you the difference. Because what I'm going to have to do is, instead of doing this here, I'm going to change things quite a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the projectile, do all that type stuff. This is all fine. Now I'm going to move this here to there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say let direction equals the closest tower. That's going to be a function I'm going to make. Okay, and I'm going to say if that exists, so there's no errors, I'm going to do that to the closest. I think otherwise I want to point to that. So that's going to be, I'm going to do angle to the closest one. Now I'm going to do that also in the normal one as well. Exactly the same. So that's going to go there, and then that's going to go there, and we're going to delete that. So what it's going to do is going to calculate who's closest and shoot that first. That should theoretically work once I've got this function in place. So this is closest here. So what I do is I loop through, so this is what comments are used for, so loop through every tower. Loop through every enemy. Then what we do is we calculate the distance between the tower and the first enemy. So distance between tower and first in the array. We then calculate, so then we calculate distance between the tower and any other enemy, because like we said, we're getting overtaken by other enemies. Now if this distance is shorter, I think actually as well, I don't think I need this else anymore because of this function as well. I wrote this like a week ago. Return that one, the enemy that's closer, otherwise return the first in the list. So let's see if this works. I'll be surprised if it does. I'm going to start with, go do that there. I'm going to put in my frost tower. So now, it still seems to be shooting that one there. But there you see, there, it got closer, it shot the one at the front, even though that wasn't the first tower. Now, I think I need to have more towers here. It's sort of working, it's like 90% working. It was working then with the overtaking, and it did then. I think it's this distance here. If that one's less than or equal to, I think that's right. It's semi-work. I don't have enough towers, which doesn't help. Because they are sort of going for whoever's closest to them. So they're going for that one, then that one, then that one. Based on that straight distance. So I think that's actually working. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's working and they're getting slowed down. So I'm going to stop that there. Because we've got quite a lot bit of code done, and it's been about 20 minutes, and it's taken a lot longer than I wanted to, 22 minutes. So please, share with me your creations. Make sure you do like and subscribe. And the next one, we're going to sort of texture this game now. We're going to actually make it look decent. And yeah, so I'll see you in the next video.